The Premier of the great state of Victoria, Daniel Andrews, has finally revealed details of his latest very secretive trip to China between March 27 and April 1 this year. It was his 7th trip since becoming Premier in 2014. That means if you take out the COVID years, it's around one trip a year, which, is completely normal for an Australian state Premier. The last trip cost just a touch more than $80,000 of taxpayers' money. You may not have heard much about the latest trip that Delightful Dan made because he didn't do the usual thing of inviting any Aussie media to go along with him and report on things. I mean, that's not really necessary, is it? All that accountability, free speech and democratic behaviour getting in the way of all the important business that Dan's got to do with our communist friends to the north. He said the trip was to promote, quote, education, trade and tourism ties with China, and that it consisted primarily of government-to-government meetings as an important step towards constructive and mutually beneficial post-pandemic engagement between Victoria and China, those two great countries. That's nice. Apparently he didn't bring up the matter of the detained Australian journalist Cheng Lei or the writer Yang Hengjun with any of the government people that he met with while he was in the major cities of Beijing, Nanjing and Chengdu. That's because Australian Labor doesn't do human rights and civil liberties anymore. That's so last century. The purpose of the trip was to increase international student numbers, according to the Premier, because that's a great export industry for Australia. But the Victorian Liberal Party wanted Dan to explain why he wasn't taking any of the state's university chancellors with him, if that was the main point of the trip. Good question. Very good question.